Well, hello, and welcome to week 23 in the Icarus update patch notes. I am here with Gao. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Anxious to go through the patch notes and to do some playing again.
Yeah, me too. This one looks really good. I can't wait to get
Oh
into
yeah.
it. Um, although before we are, I will say, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you like the content, please give us a like, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new content. Having said that, let's get straight into this brand new update. Week 23, World Bosses. Wow, I cannot wait to get started. For week 23, the planet is about to receive its biggest threat yet, world bosses. Roaming around the map, these bosses are an ever-present threat that requires prospectors to be on their toes at all times. Excuse me. We are also releasing the next batch of sandworm items, including armor and weapons, and a mission to introduce and exterminate these new roaming bosses. Your opinions, Corne?
Uh, Roaming bosses. This sounds very interesting. So like new alpha predators. That's gonna be interesting. I mean, when we first encountered bears, they were hard. Now they're like, oh, a bear, let's go kill it. Polar bears are still, yeah, if I can sneak past it, I'll sneak past it. However, if we get bosses roaming around, whoo, that's gonna make life, let's say, it's gonna make life very interesting.
I would say so. I would definitely say so. And I like the fact that they've chosen the sandworm. That's uh, that's going to be good. And given the
Oh,
fact
the
that
sandworm, because, and it's like, ties into the new sandworm items. So, give us new sandworm items, but not sandworms. You can't really do it. So it kind of makes sense they give us the sandworm as the first roaming one.
yeah, I also have to say that this is hot on the heels of my latest video, which is a montage of the bosses in Icarus. So I would say that was rather nice timing, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. Persistent world bosses. World bosses are the first instance of an alpha enemy that isn't restricted to specific prospects and can roam the map, providing a new layer of intensity to every mission. The first to be introduced is the sandworm. Any missions, which includes the desert biome, will now include the risk of the sandworm intruding. So, in other words, you could just be casually running through the desert because you want to get to an exotic vein, and hey ho, up pops a sandworm. Ooh, that's going to be risky.
Uh, yeah, but they roam the map. No, roam the map. So you're sitting in your base in a forest biome, and next thing you know, a sandworm pops up through the floor.
Yeah, that's going to be
That,
quite freaky,
that was kind
actually.
of my first thought. How about bases? You were uh, relatively safe inside your base, especially when you have the stone base. You have time enough to kill enemies if they come knocking on the door. But sandworm is a whole different category. And if he comes, your base is gone. So I wonder, will there be some way of preventing him to pop up right underneath your base and by doing so destroy the base?
I,
Because
w-
that might cause issues. I mean, sure, it would be realistic, but if they will pop up underneath your base, I already can see a ton of people starting to complain about it, which
yeah,
I can also understand. Because if
Yeah.
you have to rebuild your base every hour, an hour and a half, it's gonna take a lot of fun out of the playing.
Oh, for
Again,
sure.
it would be realistic, because in real life you can't really prevent it to happen either. But it will become a pain at that point. So
Yeah.
kind
Well,
of mixed feelings.
the only thing that I could think of to avoid that would maybe be to try and build your base halfway up a mountain or something.
I don't know. Build your base on like 10 pillars high foundation.
Yeah, that's going to be problematic. That would require you to go to concrete, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
because those sandworms they're big.
Yeah.
So like just 2 pillars high, that ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
Or do you have to start building multiple bases, like a separate base for each bench, spread out, so if sandworms destroys one or two, you still have the rest? I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, primarily, I'm positive about this.
Hmm.
However, I can see some potential issues in the future.
Well, we'll just have to roll with it and see what happens, and as always, adapt to survive.
True, as long as we don't have to roll over.
All right. So we can expect to see the bosses we've encountered in other missions gradually encroach on other areas of the map in future weeks. They may surprise you in missions and locations you previously considered safe.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
alrighty.
wonder, will they also pop up in easy mode, but less frequent than in normal mode? And in hard mode, will they pop up more frequent?
Ooh, that's an interesting point. That's
I
an
know, right?
interesting question.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Would you do me the honor of doing the comment box?
right. So this week is the first big step for some exciting new tech. World bosses can now be found during your missions. Currently, this is limited to the sandworm and in missions which have access to the desert, but keep your eyes peeled when you drop because their numbers seem to be growing. The system comes with 2 more additions in the form of a new module in the workshop and a new talent at master rank on Hunting Tree, both allowing you to track the location of world bosses on your map. This is valuable as the sandworms have a habit of not staying in one place for too long. We've also added some more sandworm items and a new sandworm armor set made from its scales, which comes with some handy poison resistance set bonuses. Comments
Ooh.
from Sean, game designer and all around nice guy. I like the description.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, the talent indeed is in the hunting tree, and it is a top tier talent in hunting tree. Big game hunter allows you to see the location of world bosses on the map. As for
Yeah.
the module, uh, oh, nicely colored module. The world boss module provides real-time location data on world bosses. Research cost 100 exotics, 150 Ren. Crafting cost 150 exotics and 200 Ren. This is the first item where the crafting is more expensive than the research.
Well, that
Interesting.
that makes sense because it is a really, I mean, that's a huge module. Um,
Yeah,
and
but it's the first item in the workshop where researching it is cheaper than crafting it. Interesting.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah. Currently limited to sandworm and missions which have access to the desert. But then again, a lot of missions have a bit of desert unlocked. Maybe just half a grid. Still, it is desert.
yes, it is.
I mean, I believe even a mission like Deep Vein Extraction might might have the desert unlocked. I can quickly check.
Alrighty.
Yep, deep vein extraction has a very tiny part of the northern desert available. So even deep vein extraction is a mission where you apparently will find or might be finding this new sandworm roam around. So imagine you're in the Arctic, hiding behind a rock for a polar bear, and all of a sudden you feel a tap on your shoulder. You look around, and there's a big sandworm standing.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of scary.
I know. And
Wow.
if it pops up next to a polar bear, will those two then start fighting one another? I mean, won't be much of a fight from the sandworm point of view, but interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting
Um,
thoughts.
now I'm looking at this image just underneath that comment box here.
It
That
is
looks
some nice
so
looking
cool.
armor. Oh
That
yeah,
looks so cool.
I know, right?
Oh, me likey. I want one.
Obviously, we'll have to compare it with the current armor sets. But hey,
Yeah.
it definitely does look very nice.
Yeah, and it also means you'll now be able to harvest from the sandworm, which previously you couldn't.
True, true. I hadn't thought of that yet. You're right.
Yeah.
I
Again,
wonder, will
this
there
is
be a level cap for this armor? A level
that.
cap like a required level? I can't
No,
find it in the tech tree, eh?
well, it may be. Oh, right. Okay. Well, let's just read this next paragraph, and that might explain the craftable
Righty
areas.
ho.
Sandworm items. Along with this update comes the second batch of sandworm items. The first being the cave bow, the
No,
arrows,
no,
the
no,
knife.
no.
No,
We had sandworm stuff before. Remember when they reintroduced it? You couldn't repair it yet because it still needed the skills from the beta. And a week later or so, they fixed it. So the what was it? Yeah, I thought
no,
was it
but
not?
we've never.
Was it
When you do
the
the
cave
sand,
stuff
no,
initially?
I
Yeah,
think
you're right. It
it
was the
was
cave. Yeah,
it's the cave worm stuff because we've never
yeah.
been able to
Not after the
harvest
beta
the
weekend, no.
sandworm boss.
True. It was only in the
Not
beta.
after the
In
beta
the
week.
only beta. Yeah.
Yeah, not after the beta
Yeah.
weekends. So the first round must be the cave worm drops.
Yeah. And you're right. Those cave worm stuff, the cave worm items, when they brought it out in that patch,
You couldn't
they
fix
needed
them.
to be repaired with the sandworm scales from the beta weekend, and they fixed that a week later. But
Yes.
you're right. It must be the cave worm indeed round one stuff.
Yeah. So now you'll be able to craft armor, knives, spears, and arrows using the scales collected from sandworms, which are now more plentiful thanks to those roaming sandworm bosses. With their own unique perks, these items add a distinct variety to the loot pool, such as the reduction of poison damage, reduced poison debuff duration, and water consumption buff provided by the armor set, or the poison buff added to the knife, spear, and arrows. All of these items will be craftable at the forge and armor benches, respectively, and their blueprints unlockable on the tech tree.
Well, I don't see them on the tech tree yet. Maybe only after the new mission they will pop up. Possible. But then I still would have expected to see them already in the tech tree, but like grayed out. Like inaccessible yet. I don't know. We'll have to check once we start the
Yes.
mission.
We will. We definitely will.
Forge. Craftable in the forge. Beg your pardon? The forge?
Smelter, maybe?
One would say, but would it then be the stone or
Concrete
the concrete?
furnace, maybe?
I don't know.
I mean, we don't
But
have a
is
forge. That's the point. We do not have a
exactly,
forge.
exactly. Regarding the armor bench, yes, there is an armor bench.
Yes, but we've never
Well,
used it.
kinda. It is the textiles bench.
Yes, exactly. So, that's I'm going to make a comment here, and it's a downside to the dev updates, and that is quite precisely this. If they're going to tell you where you can craft stuff, please at least call them by the right names so that we don't get confused by things like the forge and the armor benches, because they're not called a forge and an armor bench.
Yeah.
So that's my only suggestion. Please at
So,
least call them by the right names so that the people reading the notes don't get confused.
so also forge and armor benches respectively. I would say the armor in the textiles bench and the knife, spear, arrows on the,
Boom.
I don't know, maybe the crafting bench.
Possibly.
The,
Maybe the machining
currently,
bench.
currently the cave bow you create at the crafting bench, the cave arrows.
Yeah,
The spear and the knife and stuff. So yeah, maybe they gonna do the same split again here.
possibly. Possibly. We'll soon find out. Roaming Sandworm mission. To introduce the new bosses, there is a new mission for prospectors to complete. Details are scarce, so you're on your own for this one. Well, that's not a
What else is
surprise.
new?
That's not a
Yeah,
surprise. We're on our own for all of them anyway.
exactly.
So, the details surrounding this new mission. It is called Migrating Sands Survey. We have to investigate an anomaly in the desert. So obviously it is desert biome. Our operator is the UDA. Background says general access for all contractors meeting drop criteria. The mission, contractors are not required to pursue specific objectives. And
Well, I beg to differ, but yeah.
well, we'll soon find out, won't we? And the
Uh,
terms, contractors will be provided with a functioning envirosuit. They will be otherwise unassisted.
well, I assume we have to provide our own suit, but hey, yeah. And not required to pursue specific objectives. I might be wrong, but it ain't no exploration mission. So there will be objectives.
Yeah, it's a survey mission, so I would expect at some point to do a scan,
I don't know.
maybe.
We have to investigate something, do a scan, or actually, when we did the worm boss mission, we also had to survey a couple of points and basically find something weird and investigate.
Yes, that's
The
very
same
true.
with tracking the alpha wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the claw marks and
Yeah,
the cadavers and stuff.
yeah. And also the likes of the bio research missions where you actually have, like the one where you've got to go and search for a flower and then interact with it so that you've researched it, etc., etc. So you never know. It might be a combination of all of those. We'll soon find out because we'll be doing that mission live after this live patch notes update.
I remember the one where we had to interact with the plant. It's a poisonous plant. Let's make some poison pills in preparation, and then totally forget to use them.
Yes, and the other thing is that we also found that you only actually get poisoned by the plant if you stand there for more than a half a second. So basically, you interact with it as you're running past it,
Exactly.
and you don't get poisoned. So yeah, we'll soon find out. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me
How,
too.
yeah. So this image here looks interesting. So that might be our clue as to this plume of smoke might be the clue as to where the sandworm is going to pop up. Maybe
I don't know, or maybe he dove back down. I don't know.
could
Question is
be.
gonna be if he pops up, you fight it. Do you have to kill it within a certain time, or if you're in a way, will it then dive under and pop up somewhere else at a later point?
Well, it did say up
I don't know.
above that the bosses don't hang around for an awful long time, so it might depend on whether or not you actually like start to fight it. If you don't start to, if you don't fight it because you're too far away, it might just disappear again.
Now also, it's tracking the bosses, but is it also tracking their movement underground?
Well, we're
For the
gonna,
sandworm, that is. I mean, if we get the other alphas, uh, they don't travel underground. Sandworm does.
yeah, yeah.
Some interesting questions we have to check this in coming weeks.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, well, it's a short kind of update this week because we are already down to the detailed changelog.
With a couple of interesting items in it, yes.
Yes. So, if you would please do
So,
the first, I don't know, 4 or 5.
the fourth floor is about adding stuff. So, added a new mission, Roaming Sandworm, which this is the Migrating Sand Surfer mission we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
They added new sandworm items, created from the scales of the far more formidable evolution to the cave worm, the sandworm. And we get a knife, spear, bow, and arrow. They offer a higher durability across the board, compared to what? I don't know. And are designed to put a stop to any health regeneration on its victims, which is interesting, especially for boss fights.
Yes.
Because when we were doing the Alpha Wolf, when he went back into his lair, he regenerated health. Would we
Yes.
have had Sandworm bow and arrow, he would not have regenerated his health, apparently. Good.
Well, that's one thing that we can try.
Yeah.
We can
So,
put that down to test for science.
yeah. So they added a new workshop item, the World Boss module. This will allow you to see World Boss locations on the map. And they also added a new talent, Big Game Hunter. This will allow you to see the World Boss locations on the map. So it's either the talent or the module. Well, my minor build, I'm not gonna respec it to put a whole lot of talents into the Hunter talent tree.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going for the module, and then put it and like take a carry module off, put this one on, just to have a quick peek at where the bosses are, and then putting it back again, and
Yeah.
put the carry module back on. However, someone who's already spec'd into hunting, and I'm looking at you, Echo, you could go for the talent.
Well,
Saving you the
I
need
am.
to buy and use the module.
Yeah, I am spec'd into hunting, but I don't think I'm spec'd far enough for that to be relevant for me right now. Although I do think it may well be pertinent to create a brand new character for this and see how that works.
And then make it a dedicated hunter build, like a full hunter build.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because yeah, like I said, it is. I think this might get, depending on what they're gonna do in the end, and especially in the coming weeks, if they're gonna add more of those bosses roaming around, it could become a very useful talent slash module.
Yes. Now, what we have seen with other modules that they have added is that they just don't work.
We're obviously gonna test it out.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to test it out. And I'm telling you, if it's going to cost more to research it than it is to craft it, it better bloody work.
it costs more to craft than it does to research. But yeah, I would prefer it to work as well. I mean, I've researched and crafted it just for science, and we can test it out so the viewers don't have to spend stuff on it if it ain't needed. I'll take that hit, no problem.
Alrighty.
So yeah, but we will be testing it out definitely.
Yep. Yep. And I will, for the purposes of the stream, I will ask to borrow it.
Sure, no
Okay,
problem.
okay. So now they have fixed an issue where the extractor wouldn't snap to a faulty configured deposit in Echo 6.
Yep, there was a deep vein, exotics deep vein possible location in E6, which did not where you couldn't put extractors down. It didn't support these snap points. It had no snap points for this. So you were on a mission and you were scanning for your exotics vein, and then it pointed towards E6, and then you're like, yeah, okay, let's end the mission because this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
That specific location. And quite a few people I've seen in Discord about is like, hey, I can't put extractor on the vein. Then question was like, the E6 one? Yeah, the E6 one. Yeah, it's bugged.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, I didn't.
good. I like it. I like it that I fixed this.
Yeah, I didn't even know that Echo 6 deposit was bugged, but now I do, and now I know they fixed it. So yay!
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Fixed an issue where the extractors continued to run when the extractor was full, deleting resources out of the inventory.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So basically, it kept on pulling exotics from the vein, but if the inventory was full, it basically discarded the exotics. They were subtracted from the vein, but not added to the inventory because it was full.
Yeah.
So you had a big vein for like 300 plus exotics, but if you didn't empty the extractor, you ended up with like 100 exotics.
Yeah. Well, we've been lucky on that point because we have never allowed our extractors to become 100% full with the inventory.
Well,
so
is it lucky or is it we kept an eye on it?
I think it's maybe just a little bit of both.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you leave it be and you don't pay attention to it, yeah, hey, then don't get mad if you lose something because you didn't even take the effort to you didn't even put in the effort to stay with it and like monitor it and empty it out.
Yeah, that would
True,
suggest that was
it's annoying, yes, and it's a bug, so yes, I'm very glad they fixed it.
yeah, but that would also suggest that a lot of people were setting down an extractor on a vein and just running to a completely different part of the map in order to do something else whilst waiting for this to be done, which is fair enough.
It's their own choice. They can do it, no problem.
Yes, but it definitely wasn't fair that the extractor was deleting the current inventory
Yeah,
in
it's
order
not so
to.
much deleting as discarding.
Yes, yes,
The baseline, bottom line, the effect is the same,
yeah,
but you call it slightly differently, so it sounds less. What's the correct word for it? Less severe.
yes, yes,
The effect is still the same.
yeah, very true. They fixed an issue where radars in missions would attract regular wildlife whilst also attracting the mission spawning wildlife.
Mission spawning, as in spawning in specifically because you use a radar, like additional. How would you separate the incoming wildlife from the between the normal wildlife and the mission spawning wildlife? How would you know?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe having scorpions spawn in the forest.
Don't think so. It's just it's biome specific animals were attracted. Yeah, the thing is like if there's a wolf walking by and all of a sudden, as soon as you start the scanner, it aggroes on it. Okay, then it's rather clear. Then again, why would a wolf on 50 yards away, the normal wolf, so to say, the regular one, not aggro on it, but the radar spawning in wolves at 75 yards, which immediately aggro on the radar.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I would consider this an issue. It's more realistic.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not an issue that we've ever encountered or that we've actually ever noticed. I should,
Noticed,
yeah.
yes. We just killed everything that came towards the radar.
Yeah. The next one is to fix an issue where radar would continue attracting more waves of wildlife after scanning was completed. We have not encountered that problem, and we can speak from experience because we were actually doing scanning in a mission yesterday or the day before, and
the day before, not yesterday, but
yeah,
yesterday we did it without scanning.
yeah. So it was the day before, and every single time the scan was completed, the animals which were aggroed on you would cease to be aggroed once the scan was complete.
So the mission spawning wildlife, even they de-aggroed once the scan was complete.
Yes, so that is not an issue that we had to encounter, which was good. Fix an issue where you would get Arctic weather events in the forest and no weather events in the Arctic.
We have not had it in the regular branch. However, I have seen reports of this happening in experimental branch.
Okay. Which we don't play, so
Exactly.
that'll be why we haven't encountered that issue.
Yep. I mean, you're in the desert and you're you're in the forest and you're getting a blizzard. No.
Yeah.
We haven't really spent much time in the Arctic, so I don't know whether or not we had like no weather events in the Arctic.
No, I
We
don't
might have
think
been
we've ever
lucky.
been. I don't think we've ever been in any biome where there has been no weather events. In fact,
We
I
were
would say
walking
the
through the
opposite.
Arctic a couple of times yesterday.
Well,
We walked through the Arctic.
I would have said the opposite in so much as time progresses during the mission, your weather events become more and more common to the point where you end up getting weather events every single game day.
Yeah,
And
every 2-3 minutes real time.
and sometimes more than one weather event in the same game day.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting fix. Here we go. Here's a fix that I'm a little bit I'm not so sure on. Fixed the spoil rate of the icebox and refrigerator to no longer be at 0, but rather slower than normal, with the refrigerator being 2 times better than the icebox.
So up until now, there wasn't really a reason to upgrade from icebox to refrigerator other than aesthetics.
Yes.
Because both of them had a food spoil rate of 0.
Yes.
And especially for icebox, come on, you're just cooling the food. You're not freezing it, you're cooling it. So from a realistic point of view, it's a good change.
It is, however, that's going to create huge problems for for example, the food stockpile mission. Huge problems.
Unless the pots are refrigerated.
Well, the pods
I
have
don't
always been.
see anything here about the spoil rate in pods being changed from 0 to slower than normal.
Well, yes, that's fine, but it does mean though that if you're trying to store, like for example, when you and I did the stockpile food mission, I gathered all the ingredients first and then crafted the food en masse and stored the food in the icebox ready to be taken to the drop pod.
True, but now you
Now,
can do it in batches.
now I can what, sorry?
We can just do it in batches. Because the pods are refrigerated. They were not at some point, but that was a bug. They fixed it. The pods where you store the food in are refrigerated again. So stuff you put in there does not spoil anymore. So you can just, right, you need to put in like 500 pumpkins. Okay, you bring 10 now, you bring 15 tomorrow. Doesn't matter. As soon as they're in the pod, they're counting towards the total. Pod is refrigerated. They don't go off. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm still not too sure about how I feel on that one, but I will say this. I think it's more than likely we're going to have to test it for science.
The thing is, we haven't been using ice boxes, let alone refrigerators, for a long time now.
Yeah.
Basically, ever since we have the abundance of food.
Yes.
So are we really going to miss it? Nah, don't think so. This might be true for longer missions where you run to the Arctic once to grab a couple hundred mushrooms. You stuck them in the fridge and you use them when you need them. This no longer will work because they will spoil in the fridge.
No, but my remedy for that is just to pick half a dozen mushrooms from the Arctic, run them back to base, grow them in a crop plot, and leave them in the crop plot, because for me, as a dedicated and specific gardener, my crop plots have the capability of the food not spoiling, the grown crops not spoiling. So
yeah, we just have
to. If that's going to be the case, then I'm just going to stuff all my food into a crop plot and leave it.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike lad in the chat. Hello.
Hey, Mike. So we have to do a bit more crop plotting then.
Yep.
For the food.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, obviously we're not going to be able to put created food into the crop plots, but we can store the ingredients for it, which is huge.
Except for the meat and the fish and stuff. But yeah.
Well, yeah, but
I don't really see this as like a very big negative thing. No, I'm like, well, hey, it's more realistic now. And it also gives you an incentive to go to the refrigerator.
Yes. And when you add to that the update fix that they gave, was it either last week or the week before, where people who had specced into the extra storage now also got the extra storage in the icebox and the refrigerator, which they didn't before. And we actually never noticed.
Well, I noticed it wasn't there.
Well, you noticed because you're the extra storage guy.
Yeah. So yes, I knew, and I've tested it, and like, hey, if you craft the icebox, how many slots do you have? Now, if I craft it, how many slots do I have? Hey, it's the same amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so apparently that skill doesn't work for iceboxes and fridges.
Yeah.
And then later on, like last week or so, the week before, it turned out it was actually a bug, which has been fixed. So,
which is always good. We love it when they fix bugs.
Oh, true.
And actually fix them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Improved non-player character navigation in lakes and rivers to lower the likelihood of animals walking through them. I have one question for that. Why?
Well,
because the animals walk through them all the time.
Exactly.
So why would you stop the natural progression of an animal just because it hits a small piece of water?
Well, maybe if it's trying to like get past a lake, it will now walk around it instead of swim through it.
Yeah, so how about a river? That doesn't work for rivers.
Yeah,
What the animal?
they would still have to swim through it. True.
Yeah. Okay. Well, unless that comes to, you know, we were playing the Spirit Walk mission yesterday so that we could mine exotics. And where we placed the base, if you remember, I had said to you, I don't actually, because I'm the hunter, we don't have to go very far to get the animals because they actually get stuck on the lips and bounds and ramps to get out of the river.
Yeah,
And
maybe they fixed that.
so maybe that's why they fixed it, to stop the animals from getting stuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see. If they still get stuck, then apparently it was not that what has been fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Now the next two are huge. Actually, the next three are huge for me as a dedicated gardener and gatherer.
Yeah.
They fixed the issue where the sickle would not collect berries when used on berry bushes. Now that's something that I have mentioned multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, you use a sickle on a berry bush, all you get is fiber. You don't get no berries.
Yeah.
Why is this? They fix it. Yay, finally. Good.
Yeah, so now you don't have to potentially collect berries with your hands in order to get them. That's a good thing. Secondly, they have increased the yield and sickle support for beans, cocoa, coffee, tea, and gorse flower bushes. Well, that's fine, but we never used the sickle for any of those because we don't use any of those anyway.
Well, beans. Soybeans.
Well, yeah, but I always collected soybeans with my hands anyway.
Yeah, but now you can do it by sickle. And you have increased yield if you do it by sickle.
Yes. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. And
that's
people
good.
who were using the cocoa, the coffee, tea, they now also can use a sickle and have higher yield. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. And thirdly, increased maximum potential output for grown crops of beans, coffee, tea, gorse, and cocoa.
Yeah, because the yield was very low. It wasn't really worth growing them.
Oh no.
Especially not if you use fertilizer, which does make me think beans were kinda worth it to grow in crop plots to make fertilizer. So if you have the increased maximum potential output for beans, maybe maybe using fertilizer will become more viable again.
Yeah. Mike Ladd from the chat says, yeah, soybeans always frustrated me because I couldn't use the sickle.
Same here, Mike. Same here.
Yeah. And actually that occurred to me, that actually happened to me yesterday because not yesterday, the day before, we were making fish curry and couldn't find soybeans for love nor money until I actually had enough soybeans to use in the first place, at which point they were popping up everywhere.
Yep.
But you still couldn't use the sickle, so it was taking me quite a long time to harvest by hand. So, would you do me the favor and read the next 3 or 4?
So, fixed further instances of buildings breaking or reload. Continue to report these if you experience them. The whole you log in and then it like generates the buildings and the equipment and the actual structural integrity of the building pieces. But if the structural integrity was generated too late, then the base pieces already started crumbling and stuff. This was in patch notes before, but this must be rather specific circumstances. They fixed some of them instances. Apparently, they fixed further instances of them now, which is good. I mean, I haven't had it for quite some time anymore, where upon loading in you hear the base creaking and crackling. It was before, but I haven't heard it for quite some time now.
Yes.
So they have been working on fixing it, and apparently they continue on working on fixing these instances, which is good.
Yes, we've said it before and I'll say it again. We like when they actually fix bugs.
Yeah. So the fixed issue were aluminum and coal, aluminum, whatever, and coal were not spawning correctly for deep mining deposits. Now I'm wondering, did we ever encounter one of those?
No.
So we're not spawning correctly, or we're not spawning at all. It's a good thing they fix it. I mean, aluminum, it smells 1 for 1. For the fabricator, you need 48 aluminum, which is what? A node and a half. 2 nodes. So you don't need a lot of aluminum. Unless you go for aluminum building, then yeah, you need more. Same basically for coal.
Coal is plentiful anyway. I've never had a problem getting coal.
Nope. I mean, you can always use wood for burning and use the coal for creating the steel bloom, but once you have emptied the cave or 3, you have more than enough coal. I mean, we always end up with several hundred coal still in the cupboard.
Yes. Yes. Plus, you've got the nodes out in the open anyway.
Yeah, adding them now to the deep mining deposits, or fixing the issues where they now will be added there, it will mean that the other minerals spawn chance will decrease.
Yeah. But the upside to that is that now all the ores and minerals that the metals and minerals that we should be getting will now also appear as a deep mine deposit.
Yeah, they were supposed to be there. They weren't. They fixed it. Good.
Yeah.
It might end up negative, might impact us tad negatively, but hey, they fixed the issue because they were supposed to be there. So from that point of view, I'm happy.
Yep, good fix. This next one is crucial.
Is it?
Yep. Fix an issue where you couldn't control plus click objects between the space station inventory and the drop loadout.
Yeah, you had to drag and drop.
Yeah, that for me, that for me, it wasn't so much a It wasn't so much a problem as a frustration.
Yeah, you're right. You had to drag and drop.
Although I will say that the control plus click is quicker. The drag and drop made sure that you were extremely careful about what you were dragging over.
True.
I see that as just a time-saving fix, which, for all intents and purposes, saves you a second or 2.
There's not going to be a whole lot of difference indeed. But hey, ease of use.
User-friendly, yes, definitely.
So quality of life, basically, yeah. It's good. It's good I fixed that.
Yep. This next one is going to be relevant for Carl. Removed 2 times weapon damage multiplier on shotguns and instead increased buckshot shell damage from 15 to 30 in order to give better clarity on where damage improvements are coming from.
True, but I think all in all, it ain't gonna change much, if anything.
Yeah.
It's just making things more clear, is what it is.
Yes. Yes, I'm going to go to the chat now, and Mike is saying, I'm assuming for the fix we've just read above that with the control click, it's a good quality of life fix. I like it. It is good quality of life. It just makes things easier. It's more user friendly, and it makes the control click a common item across the entire board. And then he says, with regards to the shotgun fix, that it makes sense. It's the shell that does the damage, not the gun itself. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with that.
At a certain point, yes. Obviously, to accommodate bigger shells, you need a stronger gun. And the design of the gun makes some difference, you know, but what's the English word? Barrel. Board barrel versus smooth barrel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It makes difference. Well, that is more of an accuracy issue, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's going to be interesting.
But where did this damage multiplier come from? Is my question.
Not being a user of shotguns at all, I can't answer that question.
No, Mike, I'm not getting technical with you. I'm just trying to explain on a technical way. So you're right, technical.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Cornay, would you do the next one, please?
They decrease the hip accuracy of wormbow slightly. Hip accuracy, is that without the right mouse button? So it means we have to, if we want to shoot wormbows again, we have to right mouse, left mouse. That's going to be an extra move.
Well, you know how, like, when you're running and you're just using the bow normally, it sits horizontally in your vision, and yet if you want to do the zoom or the accurate aiming, it would turn your bow from horizontal to vertical.
It's not much of a zoom, but yes.
It's not much of a zoom, but having the vision in your gameplay of the bow sitting horizontally is a hip shot. Not
well, one would say if I want to shoot from the hip, it's easier to have the bow vertical, but okay. So how are you gonna shoot horizontal? How are you gonna shoot from the hip when you have the bow horizontal?
Yeah. Well, Mike says yes, without right mouse aim.
Yeah.
Yeah, without your.
So now if you're running, you want to quickly shoot something in the eye, it's gonna take a bit longer. So be it.
Yeah, so they've decreased the hip accuracy of the worm bows slightly. Well, we use the worm bows all the time, so that's going to be interesting.
Actually, it's a worm bow. Look at the line below, where they say fixed cave worm bow. Crafting speed being set incorrectly fast.
Yeah,
Wormbow versus cave wormbow. So you have the details. If you scroll up in the details changelog to the second bullet point.
Yeah.
Added new central items, central knife, spear, bow, and arrow.
Yeah, so we'll have.
This decreased accuracy, is this for the cave wormbow or the sandworm bow?
Yeah, is it for the scale bow or the sandworm bow? That's going to be an interesting question.
Yeah, the scale bow is the sandworm bow.
Okay. So we'll have to see.
Is the cave worm or the sandworm? I don't know. We have to check.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll write that down as test for science.
Yeah. So they fixed the cave wormbow crafting speed being set incorrectly fast. It didn't take too long to craft, indeed. Was it incorrectly fast? Well, that's for the devs to determine, not us. I wasn't complaining about the speed. Maybe I will in the future, because now all of a sudden it takes a minute and a half to craft a cave bow. We'll have to see.
Yeah, well, they weren't being crafted any faster or any slower than the
Sorry.
longbow.
Exactly. But they are basically a higher tier if you look at the stats.
Yes. Yes.
So it would stand to reason that it would take longer to craft.
Yes.
And again, it's not up to us to determine what is too fast and what is too slow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any issues with the speed in which they were crafted
Me neither.
before.
Me neither.
Might have issues with the speed is going to be crafted now. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I
Yeah.
have no idea how much of a speed difference, crafting speed difference it is now.
Yeah. Well, we'll soon find out because we use cave worm bows all the time. So, and it's me that makes it, so I'll have to pay attention to whether or not it does it quicker or slower.
So now I'll be like, hey, have you crafted my cave worm bow yet? Hey, have you crafted my cave worm bow yet? Have you crafted my Echo? Where's my cave worm bow? Like, yeah, easy. It's crafting. It just takes half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Which then actually then has a direct impact on how long it's going to take you to get other items that you're trying to craft in the crafting bench.
Like Mike says, them bow crafted too fast. Nobody ever said. Indeed.
Yeah, nobody complains when things are crafted quickly. And a really good example of this is having the talent to be able to create wood into sticks.
Yeah.
If you try to do that in the carpentry bench, it takes forever. And so now everybody, well, I especially, if we need a lot of sticks and we need them now, then I will put 100 wood into my inventory and I will craft the whole lot into sticks in my inventory because it does it like that.
Yeah.
You know,
way faster indeed.
Way faster. I mean, you can craft probably 3 times as many twigs or 4 times as many sticks in your inventory as you can in the crafting in the carpentry bench in the same amount of time. It's ridiculous.
I can't even recall the last time I've used the carpentry bench to craft sticks. I grab the wood, craft the sticks, chuck them back in the carpentry bench.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean, we had a mission probably a couple of weeks ago where Carl was in with us, and he's like, "Oh, I've set the crafting bench to craft 1,000 sticks," and I'm like, "Why?" So I actually went over to the crafting the carpentry bench. I took all of the wood out of there, and I did it in my inventory, and poof, 2 minutes later, you've got 1,000 sticks, whereas you would have had to have waited 5-10 minutes for the carpentry bench to do it. So again, it's one of these issues. It's one of these examples of where we modify our behavior based on the game.
Yeah.
So
like crafting too fast in my inventory. Well, only if I only have like 2 slots free in my inventory, and it's gonna start spooning out all the sticks. I never have had that.
No, never had that
and
issue.
Then still, I wouldn't complain. Crafting is too fast. No, I would complain. My inventory doesn't have enough slots. My inventory isn't big enough. So yeah. Anyway, next.
Modified weapon audio to match volume of real items. Ooh.
Guns. Now you shoot a gun, it blocks out all the other sounds.
Yeah.
Would stand to reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because you fire a gun in real life, unless you have a silencer, it makes a lot of noise.
Yeah. That's why earplugs are suggested.
On the other hand, we have helmets. Without radio, though, of course, we can't talk to one another in game. So there's no radio in there, but still we have helmets. So it should shield some of the noise. By the
Mm-hmm.
way, how are we still able to hear animals walking past?
Yeah. And how come the weather is so damn loud?
Yeah. So maybe it has microphones and speakers inside, so it amplifies the ambient sounds. Ooh, then shooting a gun, your eardrums will rupture.
Yeah.
Ooh. So
Mm-hmm.
you shoot a weapon, and for the next 5 minutes you can't hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting train of thought.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Mike has just said, I've owned and shot many weapons. Earplugs is a must. Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, the only the only weapon I've ever shot is a 22 rifle, and that was at the I was part of the university rifle team, and they're really quiet. You don't need an earplug for those because they just kind of go, and that's it. But yeah, and as it happens, weapons are illegal in the UK, so it's not an issue for us over here.
Well, being illegal doesn't mean you can't get them,
Those who
but
don't
you
wish
have
to be
to.
arrested don't have them. Anyway, we'll not go there. We'll just move right on. We have 5 items left. We are near the end of the stream. Increased aim accuracy of the recurve bow slightly. Nice.
Never had an issue with it, but then again, we don't use the recurve bow anymore. It's the same stats minus the poison as the Caveworm bow. Literally,
Yes.
compared it to the stats for the recurve bow are 1-on-1 on the Caveworm bow, and the Caveworm bow, in addition, has the poison damage. So
Yes.
why use the recurve bow? For which you
Yes.
need the machining bench, where the Caveworm bow you can craft on the crafting bench already.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Mike.
Mike,
Mike in the chat says
22 kill. Yeah.
22s are plinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. But
Slingshot.
yeah. What?
Slingshots with a trigger.
Pea shooter with a trigger.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to 4. Fixed some instances of prospects not completing to try and make it re-entry up to 3 times.
Retry up to 3 times.
Yeah. If retrying 3 times still fails, you can resume the prospect and try again.
So from reading this, I had to think about like, what do they mean here? What I think is like, you finish your prospect, you go into your pod, you say go back to station, and sometimes it's giving this screen like, hey, still saving. If you click and now, progress might be lost. I think that's what I mean with the not completing part. Say it tries it a couple of times, and if it still fails, then the prospect for your character will not be completed and you back in the space station, but you will still be on the prospect, so you can say resume prospect and then try and getting up again.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, yeah.
That's like the most logical explanation I can come up with for this bullet point.
Yes. Yes. Okay, on the rundown, we're down to 3. Fixed a crash that could occur when non-player characters eat a corpse that has something like a prime meat or stringy meat drop chance applied to it. Can't say as we've
Well,
ever experienced that.
no. Okay, my machine has been crashing a lot lately, and then I have to take it apart at some point. But then I have to take the time in between gaming, and I don't have that much time next to work and gaming. But I don't think it was because of this. Also, it would mean a game crash, and for me it's a PC crash. So yeah, no, I don't think we have had it.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently people had it, so it's a good thing they fixed it.
Yeah.
And the stringy meat drop chance applied to it is like about everything.
Yeah.
Except fish.
Yeah. Okay. Fixed an issue where prime meat accolade wasn't being completed when collecting giant steak, fatty T-bone, gamey meat, soft meat, stringy meat, and white meat.
Yes, we have been looking into this.
I didn't
It is
actually.
in the
Sorry, I didn't know that there was an accolade for that to start with.
Yeah, it is under the hunting part.
Oh,
We have
okay.
3 accolades for it. The Prime Meat Gatherer 1, gather 100 prime meat from skinning. Prime Meat Gatherer 2, gather 500 prime meat from skinning. And Prime Meat Gatherer 3, gather 1000 prime meat from skinning. We have had our fair share of missions where we would have easily made all 3 of them in one go. Especially if you go to the desert, you start shooting scorpions. They about always give you the white meat, which is a prime meat.
The soft meat.
Yes, right, soft meat, which is a prime meat.
Mm-hmm.
So say you kill 50 of them with an average of 5 per, you already have 250 prime meat.
Yeah.
Add to that the other animals. So you're easily looking at least the first 2 accolades in one mission alone. And yes, if I hover over my accolades, Prime Meat Gatherer 1 is not complete. I have done 0 of 100.
Yeah.
Mike says, never really paid attention to accolades. Are they good for anything? Do they make you better? No. It's like in the military, all those ribbons you get, it's just to impress the girls. Just to make you look nice. That's all what it is for.
Yeah. It looks good on the resume, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are more accolades that aren't working, like the smashing. Kill creatures with your fists. 0. Kill baby creatures, the heartless accolades. 0. Well, I've been shooting a few of them, baby deer.
Yeah,
Still 0.
I recently have had the issue where I'm aiming at something else, and a baby deer has walked through, or walked towards my line of sight, and I've let loose the arrow, and I automatically get an insta kill, try again, insta kill cam on the baby deer, not what I was aiming at.
Yeah, that's because you're heartless. This is all for the heartless accolades.
I don't care if it moves, I'll kill it.
If there's a baby inside, I'll kill it. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
just look at the the boss fight montage. How many times have I almost shot you, Corny?
Well, if I look beyond the montages, how much times have you actually shot me?
Yeah, but that was always unintentional, I promise.
yeah, right, okay. Now, we're looking at the accolades, like all the killing stuff. The last accolades complete is like February, early March. And then the next accolade is like 0. So there's something wrong with the accolades.
Yeah. Well, they've been kind of bugged since it was since Icarus has been released. So,
I mean, if you look at the Cave Killer one, the last one I completed February 5th this year. Cave Killer 2. Cave Killer 3 says 0 of 500. I've killed like I don't know, 2-3 dozen yesterday alone.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we've always known that the accolades are pretty bugged.
Yeah.
But if they're now going to start fixing them, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, I can impress the girls. I mean, girls who play Icarus, obviously, because the other girls would be like, yeah, so it's a computer game, but that's something else.
Mike in chat says, except for the one in the arse. Lol.
Yeah, that one was intentional, yes, I know. Here's a secret, Mike. The others were as well.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
I strongly contest that fact. not. And finally, fixed an issue where drills and extractors were not shutting down when their inventory was full.
This
This,
one
I
ties
think,
into the previous one, eh?
yes, the one where
What is it? Fifth, sixth bullet point. No, not that one. The seventh. Fixed the issue where extractors continue to run when extractor was full, deleting resources out of the inventory.
yes.
So they were supposed to automatically stop when the inventory is full. They did not stop, and discarding the rest. They extracted after the inventory ran full. They discarded the rest. So yeah, those two are kind of the same.
Yeah,
But again, hey, we have not run into this. Does not necessarily mean other people did not.
yes, but
So it's good they fix it.
that's because when we use drills and extractors, we actually take the time to keep an eye on them.
Well, how much do we still use drills? I haven't used them for a while.
No, we haven't actually. But extractors we've been using on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
Especially lately.
Yeah, last night's mission, the Spirit Walk. Electric extractors.
Yeah.
Half an hour for a vein. Okay, except for the last one, because we could only use 2 extractors. 45-ish minutes. But one of us stayed there and regularly emptied them out.
Yep.
And put the exotics away.
Yep. And made sure that the fuel was good in the generator. You know, yeah. So I mean, I think it's a very rare occasion.
When you ran back to base with exotics, and I stayed at the forward operating base.
Yes.
I was running around in the vicinity, killing animals, checking out caves, and quite regularly running back to base to empty out the extractor inventories.
Yes. Yes, and your own, of course.
Yeah, I was more looking at like exotics. I didn't really bring much from the caves. But more like running around and have to do something in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, actually back to base, empty out the extractor inventories. Because I do not want to run the risk of them running full.
No.
Still, it would take what, like, so would you say 20 seconds an exotic? You can store 100 exotics. So it's still over 3 hours before they run full.
Mm-hmm.
Is this correct? It should be correct. But just keep close.
Yes. Yes. Oh, the other thing is that we would find that the extractors would be attacked by animals. And so therefore, we would either stay right next to the extractor and protect it, or we would run out of the area to prevent the animals from attacking the extractors.
Yeah, the extractors aren't being attacked in the same way raiders are.
Yes.
Extractors are being attacked if an animal walks past very close by and is like, what the heck is this? This doesn't belong here. I'm just gonna hit it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have lost extractors because of this. This is true.
Yes, we have.
But
we have.
Doesn't really happen that much, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last night we just built a base around the exotics fame.
Yes. Well,
way more fun.
Oh yeah. Especially, it makes it much easier for you to make sure that your extractor is safe.
Yeah.
So.
And like I said, it's just fun having the base around the extractor. So plonk down a couple of them stone foundations, build walls on it, build a roof. Hey, voila! You have your own private exotics fame. Yay!
Yay! We like you that.
Oh yeah.
And that, my friends, is the end of this Icarus week 23 patch update. We are going to go live with the new mission in probably about 10-15 minutes, maybe. So don't go too far. Stay tuned to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, like it if you enjoy the content, subscribe if you're not, and if you're not subscribed, and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any new icons. Mike says time to shower. See you soon. We certainly will do. We look forward to it. And we will see you then. Until then, it's good night from me.
And good night from her.
And we will catch you on the next one. Bye.